It was a chilly Friday evening in Denver. Andrew parked his car in front of his house, put his bag of balls in the back seat, and sat in silence for a few seconds. He'd lingered on the field longer than usual because the boys were asking for another round of pitches. Tyler was running around the bases, laughing, waving to his dad. Everything seemed normal. The front door opened with the first turn of the key. Inside, it smelled of fried chicken and menthol toothpaste. Savannah left the tube on the counter in the morning. Andrew put it away in the drawer, and she took it out again. Quiet footsteps from the kitchen, a muffled voice. He stopped in the hallway and listened. "Yes, I hear you," Savannah whispered. "Not now. He's here." Andrew placed his keys in a ceramic bowl, as he did every day, and tapped his fingers against the rim, a familiar sound. He entered the kitchen calmly, without question. Savannah stood at the island, her phone face down. Her hair was pulled back into a ponytail, and a frying pan was cooling on the stove. "Are you early?" she asked with a tight smile. "The team is tired." Andrew opened the fridge. "Is Tyler at Marie's? Did you take him?" "Yes, Domino's, as always." He poured himself some water, took a sip, and looked at the clock above the door. 7:28. Savannah ran her hand across the table as if collecting crumbs and said, "I wanted to talk. It's like we've been talking less." "Agreed," he replied. "Let's do it tomorrow. I'm tired. I'll pick up Tyler and come back." "I could have done it myself," she began. "He's waiting for me." Andrew turned toward the door and picked up his tablet from the shelf by the couch. The screen flickered and opened his iCloud family album because he'd been looking at photos from the park last weekend. A notification appeared, 5 new photos added. He didn't touch anything, just watched as the auto-sync scrolled through the feed. One photo was of a hotel room number on the door, another of a sink, a third of Savannah in the mirror, her lips brightly painted, looking down, and another of her hand on a white bedspread, a watch with a wide strap on the nightstand nearby. He'd seen a watch like that on Casey. The director liked to tug at his cuff to show off the stainless steel clasp. Savannah came closer. "You left the album open again," she said evenly. "I don't like having technology everywhere." "I'll close it," Andrew said and pressed the button. He silently picked up his bag, pulled out a folder with his workout schedule, and tucked the tablet inside. Savannah noticed the movement. "What are you doing?" "I'll pick up Tyler from Marie. I'll be back in 20 minutes. "Wait." She leaned on the countertop. "Are you angry?" "I'm tired." He looked into her eyes. Later. It was darker outside than it looked from the window. The air was sharp as he walked toward Marie's house. She was already standing on the threshold with a plate of cookies. "Is everything okay?" she asked quietly, looking at him carefully. "I'll take Tyler for the night, if it's not too much trouble." "Of course." Tyler's in the living room, building a robot. "Come in." Tyler threw himself on his father's neck. "Dad, look, it has a turbo engine now." "Cool." Andrew kissed his son on the top of his head. "Shall we go home? We'll practice by the garage tomorrow morning." "Yes." Marie looked from the boy to Andrew. "Leave it with me if you need it. I'm at home, watching TV, knitting. There's plenty of space." "Thank you. Perhaps I'll ask later." He walked Tyler to the car, sat him down in the car seat, and while he was buckling up, texted Marie. "If in 20 minutes I ask you to let Tyler stay with you overnight, is that okay?" The answer came immediately, yes. At home, Savannah paced from room to room. A stack of magazines lay on the living room table, with a fitness planner on top, the corners creased. Andrew led Tyler to his room, helped him take off his sneakers, and whispered, "Pack your backpack like you're going on a trip. Pajamas, a toothbrush, your favorite book, and the robot. We're going to Marie's. She's having a sleepover experiment tonight." "Great," Tyler whispered and started packing his things. Andrew walked into his office, closed the door, and pulled his tablet out of the folder. He opened the album and selected Save to File on the external flash drive he kept for school presentations. Then he logged into the joint bank account on his laptop. Recent transactions. Hotel Greenwood Springfield, Sushi Bar, Bunker Room 214. He took screenshots and sent them to his backup email. The office door opened slightly. Savannah stood in the doorway. "What kind of spy games are these?" she asked, keeping her voice low. "Financial documents," Andrew said, "and a photo, just in case." "Just in case of what?" "We'll talk tomorrow." She came closer. "Not talking is also a choice. A bad choice. Were you offended by the photo?" "It was weird. I was doing a shoot for a campaign. The team rented a room to do a Zoom call." "There's a hand with a watch," he said. "That's not Zoom. You see what you want to see." "I see the data." Savannah turned and went into the kitchen. The water in the sink began to gurgle. She'd turned on the faucet, even though the dishes were clean. Andrew returned to his laptop and opened the fitness chain's schedule. The club's shared account allowed him to view the studio booking history. He downloaded a report for the last 2 months. "Dad, I'm ready," Tyler shouted. Andrew turned off the computer, picked up his son's backpack, and walked out into the hallway. Savannah stood by the door, arms crossed. "This is funny," she said. "We're adults. Let's talk." "Tomorrow." He opened the door. "Tyler's staying over at Marie's." "I'm Mom," she said quietly. "He should stay home." "He'll be nearby, 3 houses away. You can call Marie, but not today." She stepped back. Tyler walked past, waving at his mother. "Good night, Mom." "Night, baby," Savannah replied with a tight smile. Marie greeted them without further ado, spread a blue baseball print blanket on the cot, and turned on the nightlight. Tyler lay down and fell asleep quickly, as if he'd just come from a hike. Andrew finished the tea he'd offered and went out onto the porch. "You need a plan," Marie said, not looking at him. "You always work to a plan. Otherwise, you'll get stuck talking." "I'll call a lawyer tomorrow morning," he replied. "One coach's sister is a family lawyer." "Write down everything you saw. Save it. And don't beat yourself up for acting calmly." "I'm not scolding." "Fine." On the way home, Andrew opened his phone's notes and wrote a few lines. Photos and album, hotel, hand, watch. Expenses, hotel, restaurants. Hidden meetings, timeline, Tuesdays and Thursdays. The heater hummed quietly in the car. He turned off the radio so nothing would interrupt his thoughts. Darkness greeted him at home. Only the lamp over the stove was lit in the kitchen. Savannah sat on a stool with a mug of tea. "I'm not sleeping," she said. "Let's sit down." "No. You're making a big deal out of this. There was nothing special about it. It was just one evening, nothing serious. You've got it all wrong." "You said nothing and one evening in the same sentence," Andrew said. "That's enough." She put down the mug and stood up. "I'm not perfect. We're both not perfect. I'm tired of being the perfect wife. You're always busy with school, baseball, these schedules. I want to feel alive, too." "Okay," Andrew said. "I'll call the lawyer tomorrow. We'll make it official. I'm changing the garage code now. You can stay in the guest room tonight. We'll leave in the morning." "Are you serious?" "Yes." He went into the garage, closed the door behind him, and reprogrammed the keypad. Then he returned to the house, removed the old lock cylinder, and installed the new one he'd bought last week for no particular reason, just because he had a coupon. Now he had a reason. Savannah watched silently. "You want to break up the family," she said when he finished. "I want to protect myself and my son. He is my son, too." "I know." Savannah walked into the guest room. The door closed. Andrew turned off the light and sat down on the sofa. He didn't cry, didn't yell, didn't argue with himself. He stared at the walls and thought about 3 things he needed to accomplish tomorrow: the lawyer, the bank, and a video call instead of a regular one. And he also needed to write to the school so they could keep track of his attendance for the club section more accurately. Everything had to be neat. His phone vibrated. A message from Savannah. "We'll talk in the morning. Please don't do anything stupid." He turned off notifications and set "Do Not Disturb." He selected exceptions in the settings for Marie and the school's sports coordinator. At 1 in the morning, a new idea occurred to him. The shared iCloud could sync notes. He checked a file called Planning Meetings Q2 had appeared in Savannah's folder. Inside were meetings, addresses, and the occasional note, with K, or simply K. He copied it to a flash drive and saved it in a separate folder. The computer's memory word, as if transferring large files. When the indicator stopped, Andrew pulled out the flash drive and placed it in the drawer with the washing machine instructions. Around 2 in the morning, he fell asleep in the living room with the nightlight on. He woke to a faint click the timer resetting the backlight on the video intercom he'd connected to the door, but hadn't yet activated. He got up, poured himself some water, and texted Marie briefly. "How's Tyler?" Her reply came immediately, as if she hadn't been asleep. "Sleeping soundly. Don't worry." The morning began with a quick call to the coach. "I'll take over the morning group, and I have a question. Is your sister Lindsay Ward? Can you give me her contact information?" The coach read out her number, adding, "She's smart. Call right now. She's usually in the office by 8. At 7:45, Savannah walked out of the guest room wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. "I'm going to the studio," she said. "I'll be back for lunch." "I'll go see a lawyer," he replied calmly. "Then I'll pick up Tyler." Savannah bit her lip. "You'll really do it?" "Yes. You don't give me a chance to explain. I only give chances where I see respect. Today, I don't see it." She took the keys, looked at the door lock, realized that the key did not fit, and turned away. "You changed overnight." "I just set my priorities." The door slammed. Andrew inhaled and exhaled. He opened his laptop and wrote himself an email with a clear to-do list for the day. 1 Lindsay, consultation. 2 bank, reissue cards, freeze joint cards. 3 video call, connect and test. 4 inform Marie of schedule. 5 gather documents, photos, statements, studio schedule, Q2 notes. He poured himself a coffee without sugar. It was bitter, but that didn't matter now. His phone vibrated again. A message from an unknown number. "This is Casey. Let's talk like grown men. You imagined it. These things happen." Andrew froze. Then he took a screenshot and forwarded it to his backup address. He didn't respond. A minute later, another text message arrived. "Don't ruin your career. Think about it. I respect you as a teacher." He took another screenshot. He placed the phone face down, turned on the laptop, and dialed Lindsay's number. "Lindsay Ward's office, hello." The secretary's voice was cheerful. "My name is Andrew Collins. I need a consultation today. I have grounds for divorce based on the spouse's fault, and a temporary restraining order may be necessary." "1 sec." The receiver scrolled through the pages. "Mr. Collins, come at 9:30. Bring any evidence, graphs, documents. I'll send you the address. Thank you." He hung up and gathered up the folder. A flash drive, printed statements, screenshots, a list of appointments, printed photos of watch straps. He closed his backpack and put on his jacket. Before leaving, he checked the doors and windows again. Then he took Tyler's baseball cap from the coat rack and put it in his bag. The boy will ask her to go to training in the evening. It was clear outside. He got into the car and started the engine. He turned on the GPS and pointed to the address Lindsay's office had sent him. Before driving off, he texted Marie, "I'll pick up Tyler by noon, let you know then." She replied, "We'll make pancakes, no rush." Lindsay Ward's office was on the second floor of a low-rise building next to a coffee shop and a notary office. The reception area was clean and simple. 2 chairs, a desk with forms, a clock on the wall, and a framed Colorado license. The secretary offered water and gave a short questionnaire. Address, contact information, risk of violence, and any previous police reports. Andrew filled in the blanks where he had something to say and crossed out the blanks. When he was called in, Lindsay was already seated at the table, leafing through the screenshots and printouts she'd sent. She was wearing a dark jacket, her hair pulled back, and a thick gray folder with a Collins sticker on her desk. Good morning, Andrew, she said, nodding toward the chair. Let's take this one step at a time. Let me warn you right away. Colorado is a no-fault state. We don't file at fault in the legal sense. We file for divorce under the term irretrievable breakdown. But evidence of your spouse's relationship will be useful for two things: custody and protective orders, and also for your case with your employer if ethics are involved. I understand, Andrew said. It's important to me to build a safe life for my son and stop the pressure. Then here's the plan. The first block is security and communication. You've already changed the locks. Next, a video call or a camera at the entrance. Install them today. Next, block joint cards and a separate account for everyday expenses. Also, we're transferring communication with my wife to an app that logs every message. I recommend Talking Parents or our Family Wizard. You don't answer calls, only emails there, calmly and to the point. She turned the sheet towards him. The second part is procedural. Today, I'm filing a petition for divorce. I'm also filing a petition for temporary sole custody and a temporary visitation order. You propose a schedule in which the child lives with you and visits with the mother take place at a supervised visitation center. We justify this by citing the stability of your schedule, the support of your neighbor, the child's reaction, and the risk of boundary violation. The third part is a protective order. Do we already have signs of intrusive contact? Nighttime visits, attempts to enter with the garage code. Yes, Andrew said. Later yesterday, she tried the code. You can see it on the intercom. There were a lot of messages from different numbers. I saved them all. Great. We'll file for a temporary protective order just in case. The judge often issues one for a few weeks before the hearing if there's a risk of escalation. This will limit distance and methods of contact. You'll communicate through me or the app. If there's a violation, you'll call the police immediately and document it. Fine. The fourth block is work. You're a school teacher, and your spouse's potential partner is your principal. This is a conflict of interest and a violation of district policy. We'll write a neutral, non-judgmental letter to district HR. There is reason to believe the principal is engaged in an unethical relationship with an employee's spouse, which is creating pressure on the work environment. We'll avoid unnecessary details and attach only materials that don't disclose the child's personal information. We'll send it tomorrow, as soon as I finalize the text. Lindsay put down her pen and looked straight at him. Question: how are you and your son? Where is he now? At the neighbor's at Marie's. I'll pick it up for lunch today. Great. When you pick him up, stick to a stable routine. Meals, lessons, a walk. If Savannah shows up, don't open the door. Call 911. You'll have a copy of the temporary order as soon as the judge signs it. I'll file it before noon today. She made a note. And one more thing. Be careful with conversations with your son. We don't discuss the mother's behavior, only the facts of the routine. You're with me today, tomorrow too. Mom will have meetings at the center when the court decides. Simple and calm. Understood. Finances. Is your salary deposited into a joint account? Yes, but I have a separate account at the school credit union. It's almost empty. Transfer your salary there. Freeze any joint cards. Make a list of mandatory payments: mortgage, utilities, insurance. It's best to pay them on time from your account to avoid piling up disputes. And once again, no correspondence with your spouse outside the logged app. Even OK should be done there. Lindsay moved the papers into the folder. I'll prepare a petition and motion for temporary guardianship now, detailing your schedule. I'll need employment certificates, a letter from the coach about your participation in the club, and a short note from Marie stating that the child often visits her and that you have support from neighbors. Can you get them in the next few days? Yes. The coach will give you a letter today, and so will Marie. Then we'll leave quickly. I'll scan all the materials you brought, take the originals. It's best to keep the flash drive with a third party with Marie, for example. Okay? She stood up. And lastly, it's tempting to respond emotionally to messages from your wife or boss. Don't do that. Any harsh words will end up in the case. Write as if a judge will see every word. And don't forget to rest. You're very tense right now, it's noticeable. Set your alarm for a break, eat a proper meal. Andrew nodded. On the way out, the secretary handed him a sheet of instructions, a list of steps, links to apps, the address of a family center where supervised meetings were held. He stepped outside, took a breath of the cool air, and immediately dialed the bank. I need to freeze the joint cards, he told the operator. Unauthorized access is possible, and reissue my card to a separate account. The operator verified the details and sent a text message code. While he waited for confirmation, he went to a nearby coffee shop. He grabbed a simple turkey sandwich and a black coffee. He sat by the window, opened his laptop, and signed up for Talking Parents. The app immediately offered message templates. He wrote Savannah his first short message. From now on, all communication regarding Tyler is here. Tyler is at Marie's today. Pick him up by noon. Lunch at 12:30, homework at 3:30, practice at 5 o'clock at the North Field. He pressed send. The system timestamped and marked delivered. The answer didn't come right away. Then the phone rang Savannah's number. He didn't pick up. A minute later, a notification from Talking Parents. Why aren't you answering? You're being dramatic. I want to see my son. Andrew replied, follow this channel. Meetings are after the court order. Tyler has classes today as scheduled. Marked sent. He finished his coffee, grabbed the receipt to keep just in case, and drove to Marie's. She opened the door with a smile, as if they hadn't exchanged alarming messages the day before. The pancakes are getting cold, she said, but I have syrup. Tyler sat at the table with a plate and drew robot hands. Dad, look, now he can catch the ball. Cool, eat and get ready. Let's go home. Marie pulled Andrew aside. It was quiet last night, she said. Savannah didn't come, but I left the porch camera on. Here's the password for the archive in case you need the recording. Thank you. And can I have a note for the court? A simple one, that you're helping us, that Tyler often visits you before dinner, that he sees our routine. Of course, I'll write now. While Tyler brushed his teeth, Andrew pinned Talking Parents notifications on his phone and turned off all other channels for Savannah. Then he looked at Marie's front door. I'll go to the store to buy a video doorbell and sensors. I'll install them today. Also, get a video recording in progress sticker. Sometimes that's enough to keep people away. At home, Andrew started in the kitchen. He cleared the countertops and checked the drawers. Not because he was looking for anything, but to tidy things up. Tyler sat down to do his homework, a reading vocabulary list and simple math problems. During the break, Andrew called his coach. I need a letter, he said. That I'm training consistently, that Tyler's on the team, and that I'm a responsible adult in the section. No problem, the coach replied. I'll print it out and give it to you this evening. Then Andrew went to the district's website. Under Policy and Ethics, there was a form for reports. He didn't write right away. He opened a blank document and began drafting, as Lindsay had taught him. I am an employee of a school in such and such a district. I am providing information that may indicate a policy violation by the principal. Please consider this confidential. No judgment, just the facts. Dated photos, overlapping work hours, direct messages from the principal. He saved the draft to send after his lawyer had made revisions. By 2 o'clock, a notice arrived in the mail. Temporary protective order hearing scheduled for next week. Preliminary restraining order effective upon judge's signature. 10 minutes later, Lindsay sent a short message. Signed, I've forwarded a copy to your local police department. Print it out and keep it by the front door. If Savannah shows up, call 911 and show her the order. Andrew printed out the document, placed it in a clear folder, and attached it to the inside of the hallway closet. Then he opened the box containing the video doorbell. Assembly was simple. 2 screws, connection via the app, and a viewing angle check. The screen showed the porch and half the driveway. He set up notifications for every call and movement attempt. Tyler peered into the hallway. What is this? A doorbell with a camera. We'll see who's here. And we can answer from our phone even if we're not home. Cool. Can I say, who's there, in a scary voice? You can say it in a normal voice, Andrew smiled. No need to sound scary. After lunch, they went to the hardware store to buy window stickers and sensors. The salesperson recommended simple wireless ones. Andrew bought a set and a set of batteries. At the checkout, he paid with his new credit union card. He placed the receipt in a separate envelope labeled security. On the way back, we stopped at the park. Tyler was throwing the ball into the net. Andrew was counting the reps and adjusting his grip. Dad, is Mom coming today? Tyler asked without looking up. Not today. We're waiting for the court's decision. You can write to Mom through the app we now have. I'll help. Is she angry? She's upset. We won't discuss this. You're a child. Your job is to play and learn. The adults will sort this out. Tyler nodded. On a nearby bench, a woman in a jacket watched them and smiled at her son as he hit the target. It was a neutral, calm scene. Andrew made a mental note that scenes like this should happen more often. That evening, training at the northern field went smoothly. The coach handed over a letter. Hang in there, he said curtly. If I need someone to cover for you for an evening, just let me know. Thank you. On his way home, Andrew saw several missed calls from an unfamiliar number on his phone, including one from talking parents. I need to meet Tyler tomorrow. I'm his mother. He responded with a formulaic response. Meetings will be determined by the court. I suggest you sign up for a family center act. And pasted the link Lindsay had sent. At home, he installed sensors on the windows in his bedroom and Tyler's room and tested the signal. He attached a video recording sticker next to the peephole. Then he called Marie on speakerphone to ask Tyler to say goodnight. The boy explained in detail what the robot had done, how many throws it had made, and asked if he could bring his hat to school the next day. Andrew agreed. After Tyler fell asleep, Andrew sat down at his desk and opened the draft email to the district HR department again. He made some edits, removed any unnecessary details, left the facts intact, and attached 2 files, a screenshot of the clock and a copy of the director's message. He left the document unfinished. Lindsay had promised to send him a draft of the introduction in the morning. He closed his laptop and walked around the house. The stove was off, the entrance was locked, the camera was recording, the sensors were blinking. The phone vibrated in his hand. Talking parents. You're doing all this because you're being manipulated. I can explain everything to you. Call me. Andrew found a ready-made phrase from the parallel parenting section of the app. Please use this channel. I do not discuss personal matters concerning adults. Communication is child-related only. He sent it. He set Do Not Disturb mode for everyone except Tyler and Marie. He opened a small notebook and made notes for the day. Lindsay filed petition signed, temporary order signed, bank frozen cards. Talking parents launched. Camera stopped working. Coach's letter received. Tomorrow, HR letter with revisions, school schedule confirmation, court recommended appointment with child psychologist. The clock ticked in the kitchen. It was neither quiet nor loud, just steady. Andrew poured water, placed the glass on the table, pulled a copy of the order from the envelope, and read the clauses again. Social distancing, no unexpected visits, written communication only through a lawyer or the app. It was all clear. He peered into his son's room. Tyler was asleep, clutching his cap to his chest like a warm teddy bear. A half-assembled robot stood on the floor, and a notebook with neat columns of numbers lay on the table. Andrew adjusted the blanket, turned off the nightlight, and left, leaving the door ajar. The morning started quietly. Andrew woke Tyler at 6:45, put on water for the oatmeal, sliced a banana, and pulled a handful of blueberries from the freezer. A sheet of paper with the day's schedule lay on the table. School, homework, practice, installing 2 more sensors this evening. Tyler came into the kitchen, cap in hand. Can I bring my cap to school? He asked. Yes, but keep it in your backpack during class, Andrew replied, moving his plate closer. After breakfast, teeth, boots, jacket, we leave at 7:30. While his son was eating, Andrew's phone beeped briefly. A notification from talking parents. I'm available to meet after school today. I'm taking him to pizza. Andrew didn't rush to answer. He set his cup in the sink, opened the app, and typed. At the moment, there's a temporary arrangement in place. Meetings are only possible after a court order and through a family center. I suggest you sign up for one. The link is below. He pressed send. The system noted the time and assigned a number. They left the house on time. On the porch, Andrew tested the new video recording sign. It was visible as you approached the door. Tyler descended the steps, one at a time, and ran to the car. A line was already forming at the school entrance. Parents from the neighborhood recognized Andrew, waved, and discussed the weather and upcoming games. Mrs. Harper, the mother of a girl in Tyler's class, approached them. She held a paper cup of coffee and a bag of apples for the school basket. I saw the letter about the replacement in physics, she said. Is everything okay with you? It says temporary administrative replacement. Yes, Andrew answered briefly. A few days, paperwork and organizational matters. She nodded without asking any further questions. Tyler hugged his father, grabbed his backpack, and ran toward the entrance. I'll pick him up after school at 6, Andrew reminded, although the boy had already disappeared into the stream. In the parking lot, he opened his laptop and checked his work email. He sent a colleague a set of lesson materials and asked him to print out the lab sheets. Another email arrived from District HR. We received your message. Please confirm if you are ready to provide materials for our internal review. We will contact you with further details. Andrew forwarded the email to Lindsay with the subject line, Please check if you can respond today. The reply came within 5 minutes. Confirm your readiness and request a written channel. Don't send anything until I review the package. He copied the wording and replied to HR. Yes, I am ready to provide materials. I prefer to communicate in writing. Please let me know how and when to submit the package. Signed at the bottom, Andrew Collins, Science Department. Things were getting done at work without him. The director's assistant sent a shift schedule. The security advisor checked to make sure everything was in order with the office keys. Andrew confirmed that he'd handed over the keychain to reception that evening and accounted for the equipment in the inventory. He wrote clearly and concisely, without any hint of personal circumstances. Let the reports be clean. Before lunch, he stopped by the hardware store again to buy 2 more stickers for the side windows and extra batteries. At the checkout, he saw a police officer he knew from the local patrol, buying a flashlight and gloves. Mr. Collins, the officer looked up. We met at the school fair. Officer Pina. That's right. Good morning. Is everything calm with you? I'm installing cameras and sensors. I'm just tidying up the house. Good decision. If anything happens, call 911. Better an extra call than an extra risk. Andrew nodded, paid, and left. He didn't consider himself nervous, but the officer's advice sounded comforting. Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a short text message arrived from an unknown number. Where are you? We need to talk. You've ruined everything. He took a screenshot and quietly put the phone away. Another message arrived via talking parents. You're always controlling. I'm not a robot. There was no point in replying. He opened his to-do list, checked the stickers, and texted Marie. Can you stop by this evening? I want to check the sensors with someone else. She replied, Yes, I'll bring the form for the court report. At 6, he picked up Tyler from after-school care. The boy ran out onto the porch, wearing a jacket and holding a folder. We have a quiz on Friday, he said. The teacher gave out cards. Excellent. We'll repeat it tomorrow morning. At home, they hung a new sticker on the side kitchen window together and tested the sensor. The beep was quiet but noticeable. Tyler attached a small magnet to the frame himself, proud of his neatness. Then came dinner, a little math, and 10 minutes of cartoons. At 8:30, Andrew turned off the TV and went to check the door. The video doorbell flashed green. He went into the app and adjusted the motion sensor sensitivity. At 9 o'clock, bedtime, a book about dinosaurs, and a quick chat about tomorrow's workout. When the house quieted down, the evening of work trivia dragged on. Andrew sat down at his laptop and opened Lindsay's list. Gather, marriage certificate, birth certificate, copies of 2 years' tax returns, lease or mortgage, work schedule statement. He found the documents in a blue document folder, the place where he kept all his important papers. He downloaded the tax returns from his IRS account. He requested his work schedule from his secretary, who promised to send it in the morning. At 10:48, movement flickered across the video call screen. First, the neighbor's cat silently walked down the path. A minute later, the camera came to life again. A woman in a hoodie, her hood up, stepping quickly across the tiles. Andrew felt his stomach clench, but his voice remained steady. He pulled the bedroom curtains a millimeter. Savannah. She didn't call right away. She pressed the handle, shrugged, and checked the garage code. The panel lit up and beeped briefly. The code was incorrect. Savannah leaned toward the video doorbell, as if whispering something to the camera, and only then did she press the button. Andrew, she said directly into the microphone, I want to talk. Let me see my son. A notification on his phone read, front door ring. He opened the app and tapped answer. We communicate through talking parents, he said. There's a warrant in hand. You're violating it. You think paper is more important than family? Her voice trembled. I won't go out. Go away. You're provoking me. You are breaking the law. A pause. Then 2 quick rings in quick succession. She paced the porch, like someone who hadn't decided whether to leave or stay. Andrew disliked such comparisons, but it didn't make him feel any better. He picked up a folder from the hallway, pulled out a copy of the warrant, and placed it on the table next to the phone. I want to say goodbye to Tyler, she said in a silent scream into the camera, her face almost touching it. He needs to know I'm not a monster. Tyler is sleeping. You know the rules. Savannah stepped back, then came back, covered the doorbell with her hand, and tried entering the code on the garage keypad again for the wrong door. Andrew pressed 911. 911, what is your emergency? It's not an emergency, but it's a violation of a protective order. Address such and such. My ex-wife is on the porch, calling, trying to enter the code. I have a video recording and a copy of the warrant. I need an officer to document it. I understand. Stay inside. A patrol has been dispatched. If the situation changes, call back. Andrew returned to the window. Savannah was sitting on the step, her face buried in her hands. It was hard, not like a scene from a movie, but like a mundane, awkward situation. The night courtyard, the neighbors' streetlights, the cool air. He didn't open the window because he'd promised himself and his lawyer he'd hold the line. 7 minutes later, a patrol car pulled up. Officers Pina and his partner, a young officer in a cap, calmly exited and approached the porch. Good evening, Pina said. Are you Savannah Collins? Yes, she answered. Your ex-husband has a temporary protective order. You're violating it by being here. You'll have to leave right now. We'll file a report. I just wanted to talk, Savannah said toward the door. He's messing everything up. Pina pressed the call button. Andrew opened the audio connection. Mr. Collins, this is Officer Pina. Open the door just a little, and I'll take a copy of the warrant and your information. Keep the chain on the door if you have one. Andrew opened the door slightly and handed over a transparent file. Tyler's asleep, he said. The camera recorded everything. She entered the code. I see. The officer unfolded the warrant. We'll put it in the report. We'll warn her verbally and give her written notice. If she does it again, she'll be detained. Do you want to file a report today? Yes, and I need the case number. The officer nodded and walked out to Savannah. We'll issue you a notice. You must leave the area. Any return is a violation. Is that clear? I am the mother of his child, she answered more quietly. This doesn't replace the court documents. You can communicate through lawyers and the family center. The partner took out a form, filled it out, and Savannah signed. They walked her to her car parked on the corner. Pina returned to the door. Here's the number, 24113578. The report will be in the system within 24 hours. If the lawyer needs it faster, contact the local police station. I'll forward a copy. Thank you. And one more thing. Don't leave her any direct line of communication overnight. If she knocks, call immediately. Better a formality than a hassle. Understood. The officers left. Andrew closed the door, locked the bottom lock, and checked the chain. The camera showed an empty porch. He sat down on a chair in the hallway and sat there for a couple of minutes, listening to the clock tick. Then he opened his laptop and sent Lindsay an email. Warrant violation today, 10:48 p.m. to 11:05 p.m. Report 24113578, Officer Pina. Will attach video in the morning. He forwarded talking parents' notifications from the evening. He attached a screenshot of the attempted code entry. The lawyer's response came quickly. It's good you called me. Tomorrow I'll file a clarification to the warrant mentioning the attempted access. Please upload the video. We'll attach the link. And don't engage in conversation at the door. Everything will be through the camera. You did everything correctly. At midnight, Andrew checked on Tyler. He was sleeping on his side, one arm wrapped around the stuffed dog Marie had given them for their last birthday. Andrew adjusted the blanket and left. He knew the next week would be a busy one. School, court, appointments with a psychologist. He jotted down a quick note in his notebook. Police report attach. Video upload. HR email confirming channel in the morning. He closed his eyes for a minute, then turned on his laptop again. He downloaded the video from the camera to a secure drive, created a separate folder, Evidence 03, and named the file using the date and time stamp. The phone on the nightstand blinked talking parents, echoing his outgoing messages. No one else texted. The morning, oddly enough, was as usual. Tyler woke up on his own and found a note on the table with a plan. Breakfast at 7:15, school at 7:45, after-school program, practice canceled, homework and pizza instead. In the kitchen, Andrew treated himself to a cup of normal coffee with milk, sat down at the table, and reread the psychologist's report from the lists Lindsay had given him to review beforehand. It contained the standard points about stability and routine. He thought it sounded dry, but that's exactly the kind of dryness needed in court. Before leaving, he texted Marie, "Thanks for everything yesterday. Will you come this evening? There's still the formality of leaving a note." She replied, "Yes, and I'll bake banana bread. Tyler likes it." He smiled, not because it was fun, but because such things bread, a note, simple help kept things going. The walk to school passed without conversation. At the traffic light, Andrew saw a sign on the side of the road about a charity fair, the same one where Officer Pina had stood in the spring. He marked his calendar for Saturday. If you have time, stop by for half an hour with Tyler. He had no big plans. Right now, he had enough to do for the next 2 days. At the school, at the staff entrance, he was stopped by the deputy headmaster, Mr. Brown, a short man with glasses and a neat tie. "Collins, we need your signature on the office transfer form. Don't worry, this is standard procedure when the director is on administrative leave. You're important to us. We're keeping the rooms open so your kids don't fall behind schedule." "Thank you," Andrew said and signed. "And one more thing. If you need time off for court or meetings, please contact us. We'll arrange it according to our internal rules. No questions asked. I'll let you know." He returned to the car, sat down, and rested his forehead on the steering wheel for a few seconds. Then he straightened up, started the engine, and drove home to edit the video, pack a bag for Lindsay, and make chicken pasta for the evening so Tyler would have something simple to eat before bed. It promised to be a normal day, but with a heavy dose of paperwork. That evening, Marie arrived promptly at 6. She carried a jar of banana bread and a piece of paper with neatly written sentences. I, Marie Jensen, residing at, confirm that I am acquainted with the Collins family. Child Tyler often visits me after school. I observe a consistent routine. I am prepared to testify. Andrew thanked her and asked for the date and signature. Tyler happily cut 2 slices of bread and ate them without waiting for dinner. Did the cameras go off last night? Marie asked when they were alone in the kitchen. Yes, the police were there. There's a report. Did you hold on? Yes, nothing extra. Now everything is on paper. They video called their grandmother in Iowa, a brief call without details. She wished him good night and said the boy was doing well, studying and playing. On Monday morning, Andrew was greeted by the smell of markers and Lysol when school greeted him. In the parking lot, he spotted the empty principal's seat, an unnoticeable detail, yet striking. Entering the building, he noted the familiar sounds of the hallway, the clanking of lockers, and the voices of ninth graders. Everything was going according to schedule, as if nothing had changed. A short letter from Deputy Director Brown was in the mail. Room 214 is open for substitutions. Your lab sheets have been printed. Please take the box with your personal belongings and leave the key to the safe with the equipment. The tone was polite, but distant. That's what you write when the directive from above is no emotions. Andrew went straight to room 214. On the desk was a box with his name on it, a Rockies mug, 3 markers, a plastic magnet field display kit, and a photo of Tyler on a baseball field, held to the glass by a small magnet. He took the photo, looked at the smiling boy, and placed it in an envelope labeled Home. He carried the box to his car and returned to the teacher's lounge. Susan, the English teacher, stood at the door with a paper cup of coffee. I saw your materials in the system, she said quietly. The kids will love the new kinematics assignments. How are you? I'm working, Andrew answered. About the management's administrative leave. She hesitated. Rumors are circulating. I'm not asking anything. If you need to shut down a class, just say so. Thank you. I can handle it. He opened his laptop and began answering emails. Among them was a new one from the district's ethics compliance office. Mr. Collins, we have an assigned review coordinator, Mrs. Archibald. She would like to conduct an initial interview tomorrow at 10 and the format is in the district HR office and the duration is 30 minutes. Please confirm. Andrew forwarded the email to Lindsay. A reply came quickly. Confirm. No judgment, just the facts. Bring copies with you and keep the originals in my file. I'll be on speakerphone if asked for comment. He wrote, I confirm my attendance. Please keep a written record of the conversation. The first change arrived on time. A young graduate of the pedagogical program introduced himself as Mr. Holt. He smiled nervously and clutched a stack of lab papers. Thanks for the sheets, he said. I can handle it. If anything happens, are you here? Yes, right next door in the teacher's lounge. In case of questions, here's the lesson plan, minute by minute. Don't overload them with formulas. Let them talk through the steps. Accepted. While the lesson was in progress, the safety coordinator, Mrs. Reed, peeked through the door of the teacher's lounge. Short hair, a stern demeanor. Andrew, a quick word, she said. I've been informed that you've installed a new video doorbell at your home. If there are any complaints about noise or late-night visits, do you know the procedure? Yes, I have the warrant in hand. The police have already come once. I have the report number. Okay, I'll add a note to our internal log if I have to confirm it for the court, and stick to the official line. No talking in informal chats. Try not to discuss this at school. I'm not discussing it. Great. She left as quickly as she'd arrived. Andrew sat back down at his laptop. The parenting system sent 2 unread messages, one mother thanking him for her comments on her son's project, the other confirming the date of a test. Andrew responded calmly and thoroughly, as usual. This calmed him down a bit. Simple, helpful actions. After recess, he dropped in on Holt, who was just summing up the results of the lab, who's willing to explain why acceleration is constant even if the speeds are different, he asked. A quiet boy from the back of the class raised his hand. Andrew paused by the door, listened to the careful explanation, and then gestured okay to Holt. Holt relaxed slightly. During lunch break, Andrew stopped by the cafeteria. He didn't like eating there, but he decided to grab an apple and a bottle of water. Near the cash register, he ran into Brown. "Collins," he nodded, "I'm glad you're here." "Me too." For the record, Principal Morton has taken leave for health reasons. For now, any disciplinary inquiries should be directed to me. Also, if you're invited to the district, bring a representative with you. This isn't pressure, just advice. "I've already made arrangements with a lawyer," Andrew answered calmly. Brown looked at him with brief respect. "Okay, if anything happens, knock." That afternoon, her phone buzzed briefly talking parents. "I need to pick up Tyler for an hour tomorrow. He has a right to see his mother," Savannah wrote. Andrew responded with a template. "Visit times are court-ordered. I suggest you schedule your appointment at the nearest family center." He included the link and date of the available slot, which had been sent to him that morning. The message was recorded and time-stamped. After class, he dropped off another stack of lab work for Holt and returned to the car. On the seat was a box of his things, which he hadn't bothered to bring in that morning. He opened the lid, pulled out a Rockies mug, and placed it in the glove compartment. He moved the photo of Tyler to his jacket pocket. Keep it close. The drive to the district HR office took 20 minutes. The building was next to a library and a clinic. At reception, he was shown into a conference room. Mrs. Archibald turned out to be a middle-aged woman with an upright posture and a neutral smile. A young specialist sat next to her, taking notes. "Mr. Collins, thank you for coming," she said. "I'll have a quick conversation to see if there's any reason to investigate further. Everything is being recorded. Are you ready?" "Yes. I prefer to answer specific questions and record my answers in writing. My lawyer is available for clarification on legal language." "I understand. Let's begin. Confirm your position and length of service." "Physics teacher, 9th to 11th grades, 8th year." "Are you aware of any relationship between Director Morton and your wife?" "I'm aware of evidence that points to this possibility. Photographs, transactions, messages. I'll provide copies. I'm not prepared to make a personal assessment." "I understand. Have you ever experienced pressure from the director as an employee due to personal circumstances?" "I received messages from his number offering to talk like men with hints of a career. I saved them. There were no direct threats. I chose not to respond." "Do you have any concerns that this will affect your work?" "I want to separate work from personal life. That's why I came here." Archibald nodded, making notes. The last section. "Did the principal interact with your child in the school environment?" "No." "Thank you. Then here's how it works. You send us the package of materials via the secure link I'll send you. We'll conduct a preliminary assessment. All parties will be kept informed as briefly as possible until the investigation is complete. If you need time off for the court dates, we'll coordinate this with the school administration. Any questions?" 1. I request that all communication be in writing, and I ask that no information about the child be disclosed. This is our standard. I confirm. On the way out, Andrew dialed Lindsay. "Everything went smoothly," he said. "Questions about facts, no judgment." "Excellent. The package will be sent through me. I'll check the wording. And don't forget tonight is family, food, sleep. Tomorrow we have another motion to file to expand the warrant to take into account the attempted access." I remember. At home, he made dinner pasta with chicken and broccoli. Tyler chatted about school, showed off his quiz cards, and asked if he could bring his favorite player's baseball card to class on Friday. Andrew agreed as long as he didn't change during recess. After dinner, they went to a sporting goods store to buy new laces for their cleats. The salesman, a young man, recommended durable, wax-coated ones. Tyler immediately asked for some more stick tape for the robot. Andrew bought the tapes too. On the way back, his phone quietly beeped an email from Archibald with a secure link. He forwarded it to Lindsay. That evening, after putting Tyler to bed, he sat down at his laptop and assembled a package, scanned messages, photos of watches from a company party 2 years ago, hotel transaction statements, a talking parent's log of Savannah's attempts to schedule meetings out of order. He gave each file a descriptive name and date. He uploaded everything to a draft folder without sending it. He double-checked the list. He closed the laptop and walked through the house. The front door, the windows, the sensors, the video doorbell. The porch was empty. The county courthouse looked like all such buildings in Colorado. Glass, concrete, metal detectors at the entrance. Andrew arrived early. He parked on the upper level of the parking lot and sat for a few minutes until his breathing became regular. The folder contained printouts, the coach's letter, Marie's note, the talking parent's log, screenshots, a printed police report with a serial number. He checked everything was there. Lindsay met him in the hall, wearing a dark suit and holding a thin tablet and a folder of bookmarks. "Come on," she said. "We have a quick conference with the clerk first, then courtroom 4. Judge Harrison. He's stern but direct. The main thing is facts, not emotions." Understood. The waiting room was quiet. A few people were leafing through papers, some were looking at their phones. Marie arrived a couple of minutes later, took off her scarf, and smiled shyly. "I'm worried," she said. "I've never been a witness." "It'll be brief," Lindsay reassured her. "I'll ask a few questions about your daily life and routine. No judgment, just what you saw." The door opened slightly, and the clerk called the parties. In the hallway, Andrew saw Savannah and her lawyer, a man in an expensive suit, holding a shiny folder. Savannah looked tired. Her hair was pulled back, and there were dark circles under her eyes. She didn't look at Andrew. She glanced at the courtroom doors and adjusted her sleeve. The courtroom was small inside. Judge Harrison, tall, gray-haired, with a dry face, entered without fanfare. Everyone stood. He sat down, spread out several sheets of paper, and looked at the calendar. Denver District Court. Interim measures in the Collins case. I've reviewed the materials. There's a petition for temporary custody, and a petition for a protective order has already been signed and is in effect until the hearing on the merits. Today, we'll discuss the child's schedule and communication format until the final decision is made. Are the parties ready? "Ready, Your Honor," Lindsay said. "Ready," Savannah's lawyer said. Harrison nodded. "First, I will listen to brief positions." Lindsay spoke without further ado. "Our request is for temporary sole physical custody of the father, Andrew Collins, and for the mother, Savannah Collins, to have contact with him only at a supervised visitation center. The grounds are the father's stable schedule, demonstrable support from neighbors and the school, violations of the order by the mother report #24113578, intrusive contacts, and unsafe visits at night. The child's interests are stability and predictability. We have provided letters from the coach, neighbor, and a communication log. The father provides for school, sports activities, meals, and medical visits. We are available to answer any questions." Savannah's lawyer stood up. "Our position: the mother wants to maintain an active role in her son's life. There was an emotional situation between the adults, but this is not a criterion for depriving her of regular visits. We request a rotating schedule of every other weekend and 2 weekday evenings without supervision. Texting and a nighttime visit are an attempt to restore dialogue, not a threat. The client regrets the misunderstanding and is willing to comply with the court's instructions." The judge looked at Savannah. "Do you admit to visiting the house at night, despite the signed warrant?" She swallowed. "I came to talk. I'm a mother. I didn't mean to break the law. I was upset." "Being upset doesn't invalidate the warrant," Harrison said. "Let's move on." Lindsay called Marie. Marie came over, placed her hand on the Bible, took the oath, and sat down. "Mrs. Jensen, tell us what you've observed with the Collins family in recent months," Lindsay began. I live 3 doors down, Marie said, looking at the judge. Tyler often comes to my place after school. His father picks him up on time, makes dinner, does his homework with him. They have a schedule. Last night, I heard a noise, but not at my place. Later, Andrew said Savannah had arrived. He didn't answer the door. I saw a copy of the warrant. The boy is calm with his father. After meetings with his mother before, when they were together, he would sometimes be agitated, difficult to settle down. Now he's more even-tempered. Did you see your father raise his voice? The judge asked. No, he speaks calmly. Sometimes too calmly. Marie tried to smile and immediately stopped herself. But it's better than shouting. Savannah's lawyer didn't press her too hard, only asking if Tyler visited his mother. I don't follow, Marie replied. I only talk about what I see in myself. Next, Lindsay handed the coach's letter to the judge. Harrison read it, nodded, and asked Andrew, confirm that you will support your child's activities and can accommodate their work schedule. Yes, Your Honor, Andrew said. I have a fixed workload and the lesson administration is structured. After-school programs in the morning and help from a neighbor make it possible to maintain a routine. The child has a pediatrician, vaccinations, and insurance. I have everything. Okay, Miss Collins, you have the floor. The judge looked at Savannah. What can you say about the late-night visit and the messages? Savannah clenched her fingers. I made a mistake, she said. I was panicking. Andrew cut off all communication. I tried to see my son. It hurts me to be made an enemy. I work, my schedule is unpredictable, but that doesn't mean I'm a bad mother. I love my son. Love for the child is not a matter of dispute, the judge said calmly. What is at issue is stability and adherence to the rules. Savannah's lawyer interjected. The client is willing to see a counselor and adhere to any schedule the court deems appropriate. We ask that she not be confined to the center. This would be humiliating for her and unnecessary unless there are threats. Lindsay raised her finger. I'll note, the center isn't a punishment, but a tool for reducing conflict. We've had 3 episodes of intrusive visits and hundreds of messages at night. The child is 7 years old. He doesn't need turbulence. The judge took off his glasses, paused, and began to speak calmly, like a teacher in front of a blackboard. So, until the final decision on the case, temporary sole physical custody is with the father, Andrew Collins. The mother, Savannah Collins, sees the child at a supervised visitation center once a week for 2 hours. I'm scheduling the visits at the Riverview Center with the next slots on Wednesdays. Communication between the parents is only through a logged app. No calls, no visits without written consent. The order remains in effect. Any violations are immediately reported to the police and the court. Both parents are required to schedule a parenting skills consultation with a family counselor. The report is due in 6 weeks. Questions? Savannah's lawyer stood up. Please consider the possibility of additional time if the center approves. Apply in writing, the judge replied, provided there are no violations and the consultant's report is positive. Lindsay glanced briefly at Andrew and nodded slightly. The solution was better than they had expected. As they left the hall, Marie hugged Andrew with one arm. You're doing well, she said quietly. Now it's time to get on schedule. Savannah stood in the hallway, her lawyer whispering something. She glanced at Andrew, his gaze weary, unprovoking. He nodded briefly and moved on. There was nothing more to say. Downstairs in the cafeteria, he and Lindsay got coffee. Lindsay sorted out her papers. Now we'll proceed according to plan, she said. I'll make a referral to Riverview and send them the decision. You'll make an appointment with a child psychologist. Here's the list. Update the school. Bring a copy of the decision, but without any unnecessary text, just so they know the schedule. And also keep the talking parents' logs clean. No harsh language. Write as in the report. I will do it. And rest. Today, Tyler can have pizza and a cartoon, and you can have a warm shower and an early night. We've reached an important milestone, but this is only the halfway point. In the parking lot, Andrew called the coach. "Everything's fine," he said. "Training is on schedule this week. If I'm gone one evening, I'll make a submenu in advance." "Got it," the coach replied. "And I'm happy for you and the guy. Stay the course." At home, Andrew posted a copy of the solution on the internal bulletin board next to the weekly schedule. He called Riverview and scheduled the first meeting for Wednesday at 5 p.m. He immediately messaged Savannah on Talking Parents. "The meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, 5 o'clock, 7 p.m. at Riverview Family Center. I'll drop Tyler off and pick him up. Please arrive 10 minutes early." He attached a scanned copy of the solution. The system marked it delivered. Tyler came home from school cheerful. He told me about the quiz, about the teacher's funny joke, and asked me to decorate the robot's helmet with ribbon. Andrew smiled and sat down on the floor next to him. "We have good news today," he said evenly. "We've received the schedule. On Wednesdays, you'll see Mom at the family center. I'll drop you off and pick you up. The rest of the days are business as usual: school, practice, dinner." "Will Mom come home?" Tyler asked. "No. We'll meet in a special place where adults will make sure everything goes smoothly. That's the rule." Tyler nodded, his face becoming more serious, but not fearful. "Can I have pizza today?" "Yes, yes, and a cartoon. But first, math." Wednesday started off leisurely. Andrew set his alarm half an hour earlier to calmly prepare for Tyler's first meeting with Savannah at Riverview. There was half a pizza left in the fridge, he'd saved it for dinner, and he'd made some oatmeal. Tyler came into the kitchen wearing a team t-shirt, wandered around the cabinet looking for syrup, and asked, "Are we going to see Mom today?" "Yes, at 5. I'll drop you off and pick you up. The center staff will be there. You can take a comic book in case you want to read during your break." "Are they kind?" "Their job is to keep everyone calm. They're not on anyone's side." Tyler nodded and put the comic book back in his backpack. Andrew checked the list: birth certificate, a scan on his phone, a copy of the court order in a folder in the trunk, a bottle of water, napkins. He noted such details because the little things saved him energy. School went smoothly that afternoon. Mr. Holt was doing well with his labs, sending a photo of the whiteboard with his equations. Andrew wrote back, "Great, just remember to verbalize the steps." During recess, he delved into the Riverview Center's online queue. The rules were simple. Arrive 10 minutes early, leave your belongings in your locker, hand over your phones, and talk only about the child. No discussion of court or adult topics. At 4:45 p.m., they pulled up to Riverview, a one-story building with neat bushes at the entrance. A woman in her 50s was at the reception desk and introduced herself as Terry. "Mr. Collins?" she asked. "Sign Tyler in here. Mom will come separately. You have separate entrances. The time is 2 hours. If anything goes wrong, a staff member will intervene." Tyler tightened his grip on the strap of his backpack. "Can I take the ball?" "Yes, but only play in a room with a soft carpet," said Terry. "We have soft balls." Andrew crouched down to his son's level. "I'll be waiting in the lobby. If anything comes up that bothers you, tell a member of staff. Everything else is business as usual. Playing, talking, reading a book." "Okay?" The staff member led Tyler to the children's room. Andrew sat in a chair by the window. The center's rules were posted on the wall, and a rack of parenting magazines sat in the corner. At 5:03 p.m., Savannah walked in the next door. He only noticed her in the reflection of the glass. She walked slowly, holding a paper bag. Terry asked her to leave the bag in her locker. Savannah turned to the counter, made a motion as if to look back into the hall, and stopped. The rules forbade it. Everything else took place behind closed doors. Andrew leafed through the magazines and checked his watch every 10 minutes. At 6:55 p.m., the door opened again. Tyler emerged, holding a soft ball. His face was straight, without a smile or tears. "How did it go?" Andrew asked as they stepped outside. "It's fine," Tyler said. "We were playing Who's Driving, and she brought out a photo album of me as a kid. It smelled of perfume, just like before. I asked her not to spray too much. Okay, do you want pizza at home? Yes. They got into the car. The phone beeped an email from Lindsay, reminding him of his child's psychologist appointment the following day. Andrew set his alarm for the morning. On Saturday, a junior varsity game was underway on the school field. Tyler was at first base, bouncing on his toes, ready to catch the ball. His parents sat on folding chairs, some drinking coffee, others filming on their phones. Andrew sat at the edge, next to Marie, who had brought a thermos and 2 mugs. He's become more confident at first base, Marie said. Look at how he places his foot correctly. We practiced this for 3 nights in a row, Andrew replied. The main thing is not to overdo it. A whisper came from the left. One of the parents had noticed Savannah's car had pulled up to the edge of the track. Savannah herself emerged, out of uniform, wearing jeans and a jacket. The center's rules didn't prohibit her from being in the open field, but the court had ordered no contact outside of supervised meetings. Andrew tensed but didn't get up. He looked at Marie. I'll stay seated. If she comes towards us, I'll raise my hand and call the field coordinator. I'm nearby, said Marie. Savannah stood there for a moment, then walked along the fence, then straight toward the stands. She held a bag containing a pair of white, child-sized sneakers. Coming closer, she picked up the bag and spoke loudly, as if it were a casual conversation. I brought new cleats for Tyler. His old ones were wearing out. Let him have them. Several parents turned around. Andrew said calmly, without harshness, Contact information for the child is through the center. Items can only be dropped off there. They're just boots, she replied, stepping closer. You're turning a simple gesture into a formality. Savannah, Marie interjected, keeping her voice low. This is a game. Please leave. You're disturbing the peace. Nobody asked you, Savannah said sharply, taking another step. You set him against me. You sit at his house and pretend you're family. Several heads turned towards them. The field coordinator, a young father in a baseball cap, glanced at Andrew. He raised his hand. We need help, Andrew said. Court rules apply here. Can I speak to the administrator? The coordinator called over a woman from the school administration, Mrs. Dove. She came right over. We're having a game, she told Savannah. If you have a dispute, please resolve it in court. Please leave the team area now. I'm a mother, Savannah replied. I just want to pass on the shoes. The terms of their business prohibit it, Marie said. They have a center. Mrs. Collins, Dove said calmly, if you don't leave, I'll have to call school security and then the police. Savannah stood there for a second, then dropped the bag onto the grass next to the stands. The bag ripped open and the sneakers fell out. She turned and walked away quickly. The coordinator picked up the shoes and, without looking at Andrew, carried them to the reception desk. Andrew didn't get up. He was looking at the field, where the ball was just heading toward first base. Tyler caught it cleanly and stepped onto the base. The umpire called out. A cheer went up from the benches. Marie placed her hand on Andrew's sleeve. Everything is calm, she said. You did everything right. The game ended after 20 minutes. Andrew pulled Tyler aside, away from the noisy crowd, and crouched down. Have you seen Mom? He asked cautiously. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, but I was playing, Tyler said. I wasn't distracted. Good job. That's the right thing to do. You couldn't give us the boots. We'll pick them up through the center. I have my own. These are still okay. So the question is closed. In the car, Andrew jotted down the following. Incident on the field, witnesses, Marie, Dove, field coordinator, bag with shoes, refusal to leave immediately, comments about inciting. At home, he downloaded the stadium camera footage. There was a request form on the school website. He specified the time and purpose as for legal proceedings. Mrs. Dove promised to help and send a link. That afternoon, they went to the animal shelter. Tyler had been asking for a pet for a month, and Lindsay said that having a pet can sometimes stabilize a child, Routine, responsibility, warm contact. The shelter was small. In its enclosure, a funny puppy with a white stripe on its forehead jumped up and down and tried to lick everyone who came near. His name is Chip, the volunteer said. He's 3 months old and has had his shots. He's energetic but a quick learner. He loves balls. That's our guy, Tyler said, crouching down and extending his fingers toward the net. They went through the interview and filled out the form. Andrew mentally jotted down the logistics: food, litter box, vet vaccinations, pet insurance. This wasn't a spontaneous, "we want it today, we'll get tired of it tomorrow" exercise. It was another meaningful part of the schedule. At home, Chip would scamper down the hallway, trip on the rug, and return to Tyler. Andrew placed the bowls in the kitchen and moved the tablecloth away from the edge so the puppy wouldn't steal it. That evening, the three of them, force of habit, now there are four, walked around the block, the puppy actively sniffing the lawn. At an intersection, Andrew encountered Officer Pina in his patrol car. "A new friend?" Pina smiled. "Yes, my name is Chip." "Good choice. Write the number on the collar and keep the leash short at first. If anything happens, you know who to call." "I know. Thank you." The next day, they saw child psychologist Dr. Melanie Cross. The office was simple: a desk, a soft carpet, and shelves filled with board games. Dr. Cross greeted them calmly, inviting Tyler to play with blocks and Andrew to fill out a form. A brief history, current changes, and goals. "I work on a parent-child model," said Dr. Cross. "Some time with the child, some with you. No complicated terms, just simple skills. How to talk so the child understands what's happening to them, how to notice anxiety, how to answer questions about the parents." "We need this," Andrew said. "Okay." She looked at the form. "I see that meetings with the mother take place in a supervised center. How is the child returned?" "Calm down. No outbursts for the first week. He noticed it smelled of perfume. He asked for no strong odors. That's a good sign he can articulate what's bothering him. Your job is to keep track of simple things: sleep patterns, appetite, concentration. Don't turn your home into a laboratory, but a couple of notes a day will help." Tyler came up with a tower of blocks. "She's taller than me," he said. "That's a great tower," said Dr. Cross. "Let's play a game. Take turns removing one block at a time so the tower doesn't fall. Dad will start." The game lasted 10 minutes. It seemed like simple entertainment, but Andrew realized the doctor was watching. How Tyler waited his turn, how he reacted to failure, how he looked at his father. When the tower finally collapsed, Tyler laughed without irritation. Andrew sensed relief. On the way out, Dr. Cross gave him a piece of paper. Homework. One short family routine every evening. Something simple and repeatable. Tea and 3 questions about the day, or 10 ball tosses by the garage. And a phrase to say at the end: "We made it through this day." It's easier for children to navigate this. "We'll do it." Andrew added to his calendar once a week an appointment with Dr. Cross, and every evening at 7:30 routine. After the appointment, they stopped by Marie's to drop off a short note for Lindsay and show her Chip. Marie squatted down, and the puppy immediately licked her hand. "Good guy," she said. "That's the right idea." "He'll chew everything," Andrew sighed. "We'll have to remove the cables. I'll give you some plastic boxes for the wires, and I have an old carrier. You can borrow it." Andrew felt the house changing. New objects, new sounds, a new schedule. Not worse, not better, just different, and there was a new order to this new way of life. On Monday morning, a link arrived from the school. Footage from a field camera. The video showed Savannah approaching, arguing with Marie and the administrator, and throwing down a bag. Lindsay immediately filed the file. In the email, she wrote briefly, "This is sufficient to request a permanent protective order and clarification of whereabouts. I'll file the petition by Friday." Andrew replied, "Okay, we have therapy once a week, and the home routine works." The routine settled in faster than Andrew expected. On Monday, he signed up for morning after-school care for Tyler. By 8, the boy was already sitting in the schoolroom with his board games and bookshelf. The teacher, Miss Carter, checked them off the list. "It's quiet here," she said. "First reading, then assignments. If necessary, I'll take him to class at 7:50. "Thanks. He loves math flashcards," Andrew replied, handing over a folder of worksheets he'd printed out at home. Next came a pet store. Andrew bought a carrier, a non-slip mat, and some simple treats. The clerk offered puppy classes on Thursdays. "Chip's 3 months old. We just happen to have a class available. 5 meetings," he said. "We're teaching sit, come, leash training, and sitting quietly at the door." "I'll take it," Andrew said. He added puppy class to the shared calendar on the fridge. In the evening, it was the same family routine that Dr. Cross had recommended. Andrew made tea and placed a plate of apples on the table. He and Tyler agreed on 3 questions. First, what went well today? Second, what was difficult? Third, what should I be thankful for? Tyler answered briefly at first, then began to expand on his thoughts. "It worked. I finished the reading myself," he said. "It was difficult. Chip was chewing my shoelaces. Thanks, Mary, she gave me a ribbon for the robot." "Okay," Andrew said. "My answers. It worked. I delivered the package of documents to Lindsay. The hard part, not getting distracted by the phone. Thanks, you kept Chip on a leash and didn't pull." They took 10 shots at the ball in the garage and finished with the doctor's prescribed phrase. "We made it through the day." On Tuesday, a letter arrived from the district. "We inform you that Casey Morton is on administrative leave. Assistant Principal Brown is acting as principal. The review process is ongoing." Neutral, clear. Andrew forwarded the letter to Lindsay and closed the tab. In the teacher's lounge, Susan whispered, "Rumor has it he won't be around for long. Just hang in there." "I'm holding up," he replied. He dismissed any personal comments. After school, they stopped at the library. Tyler checked out 2 books about robots and 1 about baseball. The librarian stamped it and handed out an events calendar. They had building hour on Saturdays. Andrew marked it on the calendar on the refrigerator. Wednesday at Riverview went off without a hitch. Tyler emerged in a cheerful mood, saying they'd been playing a board game. In the parking lot, he asked, "Mom said she bought a softer ball. Can I use it next time?" "It's possible if he passes it over the middle, and if the ball is legal," Andrew replied. "I'll ask Terry." At home, Chip created chaos in the hallway. He pulled a sneaker out of the shoe rack and slid it under the table. Andrew didn't scold him. He picked up the sneaker, gave the puppy a chew bone, and reinforced the rule. Shoes go in the box, wires go in the duct. Tyler dutifully closed the box, although he used to often throw his shoes near the rug. Thursday was the first puppy class. It was a small room in a store with a rubber floor. The instructor, a girl named Emma, spoke calmly and clearly. First, sit for a treat, then wait by the door, followed by a short walk with stops. Andrew found himself liking the structure of the class. Introduction, practical part, feedback just like in a classroom. "Your dog is a quick learner," Emma said. "Give him a task before bed, 5 minutes of commands to tire his brain. Then he'll run around the house less." "We'll do it." Friday passed at a work pace. In after-school care, Miss Carter praised Tyler. "He warned me that he had meetings on Wednesday and rescheduled part of the reading for Thursday. Good self-regulation." "We practice planning at home," Andrew said. "Thanks for marking." Dr. Cross called this afternoon for a quick check-in. "How was it after the second meeting?" she asked. "Exactly. It took a little longer to get into bed in the evening, but without any hysterics. Add a short walk routine after the center. This helps reduce tension. I'll write it down." Saturday morning was baseball and building hour at the library. 3 children sat at a table with an elderly volunteer who was building simple robots with them from children's kits. Tyler was hooking up a motor and explaining to a boy next to him how to insert a battery. "You're doing well," said the volunteer. We build houses together, Tyler answered and looked at his father. After the library, they stopped at the supermarket. Andrew printed out a list: oatmeal, eggs, milk, vegetables, puppy food, and bags for a walk. He became more mindful of his budget. That evening, he reviewed his subscriptions and canceled unnecessary ones. He kept 2 streaming services and disabled a third. He created a separate spreadsheet for additional child expenses in case the court asked for calculations. Sunday was spent at home. Andrew hung hooks for the leash, secured protective strips to the bottom drawers, and rearranged the desk in Tyler's room so the light fell from the left. Tyler sorted his baseball cards and arranged them by year. They came up with a rule: if Chip burst into the room, the cards were put away in a lidded box. There were no calls outside of talking parents. The order disciplined everyone. Savannah texted briefly, "Tell her I love you. I'm booking for Wednesday. I'll bring a soft ball." Andrew responded equally briefly, noted, "I'll confirm the time. The ball is okay if the center approves." He stopped checking his phone every 5 minutes. Evening notifications became routine information, not a trigger. On Monday, Lindsay filed a draft motion for a permanent protective order and clarification of meeting locations. "We'll add the on-field incident and the video," she said over the phone. "Plus, the psychologist's report when the first briefing comes out. We need to show the court the picture. You're stable, and the breakdowns are on the other side. You're holding the line, that's the key." "I've got it," Andrew said. "We're running 3 questions, and we've got the day done." "Excellent. And one more thing. Don't give up on your own life. Find an hour a week for yourself. Swimming, sports, meeting with friends. This isn't a luxury, it's burnout prevention." He wrote down in his calendar, "Pool Thursday 8:30 p.m., and arranged for Marie to babysit Tyler and Chip. On Tuesday after school, they stopped by the pediatrician. His regular annual checkup fell that month, and Andrew didn't want to reschedule. In the office, Dr. Singh measured his height and weight and asked about his sleep and appetite. "How was school?" she asked Tyler. "Fine. We have a quiz soon," he replied. "Stress happens to a lot of families," Dr. Singh told Andrew. "It's important for your child to have a schedule and predictability. Continue to monitor their sleep. If they're waking up at night, let them know." Andrew took a printout of the recommendations and a letter for the court. The child is healthy, vaccinations are on schedule, the father accompanies visits, follows recommendations. He sent the scan to Lindsay. That evening, they met some new neighbors from the next block on the playground, along with an older boy. They suggested a game of toss. Andrew agreed on the condition that everyone introduced themselves first. The game went smoothly. Tyler was confident, not trying to impress at any cost. Marie noticed this too and came over later to say, "He started looking at you more often before making decisions. That's a good sign." "He's testing the boundaries," Andrew replied, "and he knows they exist." Thursday brought the first accident-free puppy night. Chip woke up only once, whining softly. Their short walk lasted 5 minutes. Tyler proudly declared in the morning, "He's a good boy. I didn't wake up either." "We'll put it down as it worked," Andrew said. At Riverview this week, Terry emphasized that the meetings were being held according to the rules. Savannah brought a soft ball and deposited it at the counter in advance. At the end, she handed a staff member a small envelope containing a child's drawing. Tyler hung the drawing on his door at home. In the drawing, he and his mother were holding the ball. Andrew didn't comment. He only asked, "Do you want to hang it?" "Yes," Tyler said. Monday began with a notification on my phone. Someone had tagged Andrew in the local Facebook group, Our Neighborhood Denver. The post was from an account belonging to a friend from his high school. Under a photo of a baseball field, the caption read, "Is it fair that some mothers are being denied regular visits with their children because of paperwork?" The comments were already abuzz. No names were mentioned, but the hints were clear. Andrew didn't respond. He took screenshots, saved the link, and sent it to Lindsay. "Looks like there are posts without names, but with context." A reply came almost immediately. Don't engage in discussions. I'll file a takedown request if personal information appears. The screenshots will be useful for the order expansion package as a form of social media pressure. At school, he gave Holt a new set of problems on momentum and collisions. Holt seemed more confident. He held the class, asking precise questions. Susan, meeting Andrew in the staff room, nodded toward the laptop. I saw the district post. Stay away. These things go bad quickly if you don't feed them. I didn't intend to, he replied. An unknown number called during the day. Andrew didn't answer. All calls were now filtered. A minute later, a message arrived on Talking Parents. My name is Lauren. I'm Savannah's sister. I want to understand what's going on. My family is worried. The tone was polite, but he didn't like the idea of using a parenting app. Andrew responded briefly. This channel is for parents only, regarding their child. Please communicate through a lawyer. He immediately forwarded the screenshot to Lindsay. She responded, correct. If relatives continue to access the app, we'll attach it as an attempt to circumvent the communication rules. After school, a district town meeting was taking place near the school. Andrew usually didn't linger, but today he decided to stop by to show his face and not hide. In the assembly hall, they were discussing cafeteria food and a fundraiser for new computers. Mrs. Dove from the administration spotted him and approached him during recess. I sent you a link to the field recording, she said. The county lawyers have already reviewed it. If you need an official letter, I'll prepare it. Thank you, and for the way you calmly resolved everything back then. That's my job, and yours to keep things straight. You're doing a good job. On the way back, Andrew stopped at the store for groceries. He spotted two moms from the school chat group in the checkout line. One whispered something to the other. He pretended not to notice. At times like these, lists saved him. Eggs, milk, broccoli, food, bags for the walk. He paid, put the receipt in the everyday envelope, and headed home. In the evening, the usual 3 questions. Tyler said, "It worked. I read the whole chapter. It's hard," one boy whispered during recess. "Thanks to Emma for the lesson with Chip." If anyone's whispering, Andrew said, that's not our conversation. Ours is right here. Lessons, training, home. Tyler nodded. They took 10 shots in the garage and tested the new ball delivery mechanism with the assembled robot. On Tuesday morning, a Facebook private message arrived from an old friend of Savannah's, Kelly. Hey, Andrew, are you okay? Savvy's having a hard time. Maybe you're not so tough. Give her a chance. We all make mistakes. Andrew didn't respond. He took a screenshot and sent it to Lindsay. She wrote, ignore it. If this becomes a coordinated campaign, we'll pass it off as part of a general pressure campaign. At lunchtime, the district HR, Mrs. Archibald, called. We received your package, she said. Thank you for the organization. I have one question. Are you sure about the date of the photo of the watch from the corporate party? This is a photo from a public Facebook album from 2 years ago, Andrew said. I checked the EXIF. We're not claiming anything beyond the facts, a coincidence of the hours. Okay, we're continuing our investigation. Also, if you're experiencing pressure on social media from people connected to your job, please let us know. It's outside of work for now, but I'm keeping track. After school, Savannah arrived at Riverview at 4:55 p.m., exactly as planned. Terry noticed the new soft ball and nodded, allowing her to take it. Andrew remained in the lobby. Half an hour later, a woman in her 40s entered, phone in hand. She looked around and headed to the counter. I'm looking for Savannah, she said. I'm her sister. I want to at least see my nephew for a minute. Terry replied calmly. There are strict rules here. Meetings are only between parents and children. The visitor list is closed. You can wait outside, but there will be no contact. The woman exhaled in irritation and said, What a sick system. Andrew looked up from his magazine. Lauren. He didn't approach or intervene. Terry concluded the conversation without confrontation. A couple of minutes later, Lauren finally left. Andrew noted the time and wrote in his notes. Lauren attempted to enter the center. Denied. On the way out, Tyler walked calmly, twirling a soft ball in his hands. "Is it okay?" Andrew asked. "She was talking about drawing," Tyler replied. "I said we could draw next time." And we played match 3, only with center rules. Well done. More notifications awaited him at home. A discussion erupted in the neighborhood group. One commenter wrote, "If a father blocks a mother, it's about control." Another responded, "Don't judge without knowing the case." Andrew closed the tab. He wasn't about to explain to strangers that he wasn't controlling a person, but rather an order. Lindsay called on Wednesday morning. "We filed a motion for a permanent protective order, including video from the field and our sister's attempted appearance at the center. The judge set a date for 3 weeks. Until then, the current order remains in effect, but we're asking for clarification on the prohibition of contact through third parties." "Thank you. What about social media?" "I sent a polite letter to the group's administration, requesting they remove posts that could indirectly reveal information about the child. If they don't remove them, we'll leave them as is and present them to the court as evidence of pressure. The main thing is that you don't comment on anything." Yes. By evening, a response arrived from the group's admin. "We're deleting comments containing assumptions and asking that you refrain from discussing private matters. We're leaving the general post unnamed." Lindsay responded succinctly, "Fine." Chip had his second lesson on Thursday. Emma led the class energetically but calmly. At the end, she approached Andrew. "You have good dynamism. The dog catches on quickly because you're consistent. That's rare." "Everything we do now is built on consistency," he said. As he was leaving the parking lot, a middle-aged man called out to him, the father of a boy from a parallel class. "Andrew, hi. We're in the same TA group, Tom. Listen, I saw that noise online. If you need help on the field or driving a guy when you have meetings, let me know. I'm here." "Thanks, Tom. I'll let you know." Such offers were valuable. Concrete help instead of advice. He wrote down the contact information. On Friday evening, a letter arrived from the school district. Principal Morton has submitted a request for an agreed-upon leave of absence until the end of the semester. No comment. Andrew forwarded it to Lindsay. She replied, "We're keeping track. This is background, but the court likes to see institutions respond." On Saturday, he and Tyler drove to a nearby town to visit his cousin Andrew, a short day trip. The drive took 40 minutes. The brother and his wife knew only that the divorce was going on and they had established a meeting schedule. Over a sober lunch, they discussed school, baseball, and their new puppy. Tyler and his cousin built a racetrack out of plastic parts. Andrew caught himself in a sense of simplicity, as if there was a normal life beyond the house that he could enter for a few hours. On the way back, he stopped by the lake for a short walk with Chip. Tyler was throwing a stick into the water, and the puppy was happily at the edge, hesitant to go and A man in a firefighter's uniform walked past, tall, with an open face. He nodded to Tyler. "Nice throw, buddy. Keep your elbow up for more accuracy." "Thank you," Tyler replied. Andrew nodded in response and smiled. The stranger went about his business. No unnecessary questions, no lingering glances. Andrew noted in his mind, there are people who speak to the point and move on. He wanted more of those around. The week started off focused, like before an exam. Lindsay sent a list. Put together final package. 1 Dr. Cross's report summary, 2 letter from the district regarding Morton's status, 3 confirmation from Riverview regarding meeting rules compliance, 4 financials child expense statement, 5 updated talking parents logs, 6 police report and school letter with link to stadium video. Finally, a line. Try to get 7 hours of sleep. A clear head is important for the hearing. On Monday after school, Andrew stopped by the local copy shop. He brought a flash drive with files and a breakdown list. The guy behind the counter read it carefully. Double-sided printing, dividers, page numbers. "We'll make it." Would you like a binder? Yes, and title pages for each section. While they were typing, Andrew called the bank. He arranged to open a trust account in Tyler's name in case the court ordered child support. Do you want only court-ordered payments to go there? The manager asked. Yes, I won't be using this money for myself. It's only for support and gift transfers for the child. The manager drew up a form and suggested notifying the lawyer. It would be useful as a demonstration of transparency. Andrew immediately sent Lindsay a confirmation email. He left the copy shop with 2 thick folders and a flash drive containing the copy. He stopped at home, put one folder in a fireproof box and the other in his backpack. He updated the exit documents list on the refrigerator: driver's license, insurance, court papers, contact information. Dr. Cross had a short meeting that evening. Tyler was building a car out of magnetic parts, while Andrew sat nearby and answered questions. How does he sleep after meetings at Riverview? The doctor asked. We added a short walk and some soft play with Chip. He falls asleep a little later, but without waking up. Okay, I'll prepare a brief report for the court. Secure attachment to father, predictable routine at home, occasional anxiety before meetings, but no regressions. I recommend that mother follow the center's rules and avoid discussing adult topics. Can you include the phrase about the 3 questions routine in the report? It works. I'll turn it on. On the way home, Andrew picked up a letter from the Riverview administrator. Both parties are abiding by the rules. There were no conflicts. The ball and other equipment will be brought by Mom and passed over the counter. The letter looked dull, just as it should be. On Tuesday morning, an email arrived from the district. Principal Casey Morton and the district have reached an agreement to terminate the employment relationship at the end of the month. The district's policy on inappropriate relationships between managers and employees is confirmed and will be re-communicated to staff. No mention of personal circumstances. Andrew forwarded the email to Lindsay. The response: excellent. This is indirect confirmation that the system responded. That same day, HR sent a link to an internal policy memo. It was also included in the package. After work, she and Tyler stopped by the coach's office. He handed them another letter, a short follow-up. I pointed out that you led the team consistently, even when things were tough, and that having you there helped Tyler. Thank you. This is important. We're having a friendly game on Saturday, the coach added. The fire brigade assistant promised to drop by and help with the field exercises. He's a decent guy. I saw him by the lake, Andrew said, calm. That evening, Andrew sat down to create a spreadsheet. He entered everything by category: food, clothing, school, sports, medical expenses, pet. At the end, he added a note: pet recommended by a psychologist to stabilize routine. The numbers were less emotional, just lines and amounts. He attached bank statements, blurring out irrelevant personal purchases. On Wednesday, Savannah arrived at Riverview on time, bagless. Tyler emerged with the same soft ball and said, "We were just talking. I told her about the puppy, and she said they had a Labrador when they were kids." "Mark it as done," Andrew replied, "and let's go for a short walk." In the parking lot, he received a text from Lindsay. The standing order hearing is scheduled for Friday next week. Same judge. I'm preparing my report. You should get some sleep and keep your records clean. Thursday evening was puppy class. Emma practiced place and heel and praised Tyler for his patience. I rarely see a child wait so calmly, she said. It's the result of routine. After the class, Andrew received another letter from the district, a copy of the employee newsletter, policy points, complaint contact information, and a statement about zero tolerance for unethical management practices. Lindsay noted, "We'll put this in the background section. The court cares that you're not alone." Friday proved to be a busy day. In the morning, he brought a copy of the temporary decision and the Riverview schedule to the school so the secretariat would know who to call if anything happened. The secretary carefully placed the paper in a confidential envelope. We're not discussing anything, she said. We're just acknowledging contacts. Thank you. That afternoon, a message arrived from Savannah on Talking Parents. I agree to the center's rules. Is it possible to add another hour next week? Andrew responded with a formulaic response. Additional time is subject to court approval and through the center. Please forward your request to the Riverview coordinator. He took a screenshot and sent it to Lindsay. She wrote, "Keep it up." On Saturday, a new helper appeared on the field, that same firefighter. He got to know each other easily. "Aiden," he said, shaking his hand, "I help with pitching and warm-ups. If anything happens, let me know." Tyler holds his glove correctly, you can tell. Andrew, he introduced himself. "Thank you for being with the guys. Stability is important to us right now." "I understand. Half the guys in my unit have been through divorces. The main thing is rhythm and honest boundaries." They laid out the cones and markings. Aiden moved confidently, without fussing. Tyler listened calmly to his cues. The game went smoothly, without any surprises. In the stands, Marie talked with her parents about cookies for the fair. No one pestered Andrew with questions. After the game, Marie invited them to a late lunch. On the table were soup, salad, and banana bread. "You look pale," she said to Andrew as Tyler and Chip walked out into the backyard. "Are you asleep?" "7 hours, like Lindsay asked. But my head is full. Let's check the bag. I like paper." She brought out an accordion folder and began to look through the sections. Psychologist's report check. School check. District check. Budget neat. Just add a printout of the puppy class schedule, a small thing, but the judge loves everyday life. And make a sticker that says attachments list. I will do it. And one more thing. I can pick up Tyler from downtown on Wednesday if you need to get to Lindsay's earlier. I can handle it for now, but thank you. That evening, he and Tyler did the usual 10 throws and 3 questions. Tyler said, "It worked. I caught 3 balls in a row. It's hard. It takes a long time for everyone to pounce on Chip. Thanks to Aiden for the advice." Mine, "It worked. I closed the package for the court. It's hard not to worry about rumors. Thanks Mary for lunch." On Sunday, Andrew laid out a clean folder with tabs on his desk. Each section had a sticky note. A court, B police, C school district, D psychologist, E Riverview, F finance, G logs. On the cover was a sheet with a brief chronology, dates, events, links to appendices. He sent Lindsay a PDF with a table of contents. The reply was short. "Perfect. Leave it like this. Don't change anything until Friday. Just add new episodes to the top if they come up." At lunchtime, he received a call from Mrs. Archibald from the district. "I'm informing you, the ethics review has been completed. The report is internal, but I can give you the general wording. Policy violated, corrective measures taken. We won't disclose names. I understand. Thank you for letting me know. And one more thing. You behaved correctly without making public statements. This is important for the institution." After the call, Andrew sat on the porch. Chip lay by the steps, and Tyler drew a diagram of the base in sidewalk chalk. His head grew quieter. He didn't think about anyone's comments or return to his posts. He had a few clear objectives: get the package to court, get his son to appointments, and stay on track. That evening, he checked his lists. On the fridge was a plan: Mon after school, reading, 2 counseling, Wed Riverview, 3 puppy class, Fry rest, no screens after 8, Sat play, Sun library. Next to it was a small note from Tyler: "Don't forget, soft ball in the center." Before bed, Andrew texted Lindsay, "The package is ready. I'm keeping you awake. Your home routine is stable." She responded almost immediately, "Excellent. We'll have a quick call on Thursday and go over your answers with the judge. You're speaking clearly and to the point. That's it. Go on." He put his phone on charge, walked around the house, turned off the porch light, and returned to Tyler's room. "We made it through the day," he said quietly. "We did it," Tyler replied, yawning. Friday began before dawn. Andrew woke up a minute before the alarm, made coffee, and laid out a folder with dividers on his desk. On the first page was a chronology, dates, events, links to appendices. He reread key phrases aloud to avoid any catches in the courtroom. Tyler woke up later than usual. School had a shortened day. Marie arrived at 8 to drop him off and pick him up after school. "Don't rush your answers," she said as she left. "You've already collected everything. Let the paper speak." The court was in the same building. Lindsay was waiting for him at the security checkpoint, already collected and calm. They sat in the empty hallway across from the courtroom. "The plan is the same," she said. "I lead, you answer briefly. We don't argue, we don't judge. You talk about the schedule, safety, and the child. About the money, it's as you decided. No spam support, only child support for the trust. Remember, the judge likes clarity." Savannah arrived with her lawyer right on time. She wore a simple dress, her hair pulled back, and minimal makeup. Her eyes were tired but composed. Next to her lawyer was a folder, noticeably thinner than Lindsay's. Judge Harrison entered without unnecessary gestures. Everyone stood up and sat down again. "Denver County Court, Collins case. Today is a hearing on divorce, custody, and a permanent protective order," he said. "I have a full file: the psychologist's report, Riverview materials, the school district's internal memo, the police report, stadium video, and parent app logs. Are the parties ready for briefs?" "Yes, Your Honor," both lawyers replied. Lindsay stood up first. "Our request: establish sole physical custody with the father, Andrew Collins. Legal custody is joint, with restrictions. Key decisions regarding school and medical matters are with the father, with mandatory notification of the mother. Visits to the mother are limited to a certified center under supervision, once every 2 weeks for 2 hours, with the possibility of extension in the absence of violations and upon the recommendation of the center. A permanent protective order for 1 year, with the possibility of automatic renewal in the event of violations. Financial: the parties retain their property. The spouse does not request spousal support. Child support is calculated according to the state table and transferred to the child's trust account. Grounds: stable routine for the father, 3 documented episodes of order violations by the mother, a psychologist's report of increased anxiety in the child after unstructured contact, and a stable attachment to the father, confirmation from the school district of its ethics policy, and the termination of the relationship with the principal, which reduces external conflict in the work environment. Savannah's lawyer stood up. "Our position: the mother admits that she acted emotionally inappropriately at the beginning of the process. She follows the center's rules, arrives on time, and doesn't provoke conflicts. We ask that visits be expanded to weekly, without the derogatory term control, as this worsens the child's relationship with the mother. Legal custody should be shared, with equal rights to decisions regarding school and medical matters. The order should be without the harsh language of automatic renewal. Financial support should be standard child support without the additional burden of a trust, or with the mother's access to the child's expenses through mutual agreement." The judge turned to Andrew. "Mr. Collins, do you confirm that you are willing to not accept spousal support, provided that child support is calculated for the child?" "I confirm, Your Honor. I will not accept any responsibility. All payments will be made directly to Tyler's account." "Is the trust account open?" "Yes, the documents are in Section F." Harrison nodded and flipped through the psychologist's report. "Dr. Cross writes about predictable routine, a stable night's sleep, reduced anxiety," he said. "She also recommends continuing the meetings at the center and banning discussions of the case in front of the child. Miss Collins, are you familiar with this?" "Yes," Savannah said quietly. "I agree to follow." "Then a question for you. Do you admit that there were violations of the warrant? The late-night visit, the attempted access through the code, the incident on the field?" "Yes," she said, looking down. "I was desperate. That's not an excuse, but it's the truth. Now I follow the rules." "I'm asking you directly. Are you prepared to see your son exclusively in the center, if the court deems that best for the immediate future. Pause. She looked up. If that's what it takes, yes. I want to prove that I can follow the rules. Lindsay video called Terry from Riverview. She confirmed the mother arrives on time, deposits her belongings at the counter, and maintains good communication. The child is calm. There have been no incidents. Dr. Cross then spoke briefly, connected by phone. She put it simply. The main thing is to maintain a sense of predictability in the child. The father has that. Meetings at the center help because the mother's emotions are still stronger than her skills. Over time, we can discuss expanding the relationship, but only after a period of stability. The judge asked Savannah's side to address the social media issue. The lawyer responded evasively. The client didn't initiate public discussions. The posts of acquaintances are beyond her control. Lindsay asked to speak. We're not asking for sanctions for social media. We're asking for the order to prohibit discussion of the case and the child on public channels and through third parties, including relatives, with the possibility of sanctions if violations occur. That's reasonable, the judge said. I'll add a clause to the wording. After the break, the judge asked the parties to present their finances. Lindsay submitted a schedule of expenses, statements, and a trust confirmation. Both parents are responsible, Harrison said. Child support is determined by the state. Transfers are made to a trust account. The father is responsible for providing the mother with a quarterly report on targeted child-related expenses. The mother can offer to pay for specific child-related expenses through the app. The father cannot unreasonably refuse. Spare room support is not available at the discretion of the parties. He put the papers aside and looked straight ahead. I'll make a decision immediately. The court doesn't base its decisions on grievances, but on the child's interests and the facts. Indeed, the emotional component was high. Now we see a reduction in conflict with clear boundaries. He dictated. The marriage is dissolved. Sole physical custody belongs to the father, Andrew Collins. Joint legal custody belongs to the father, with final decision-making rights regarding school and medical matters, provided the mother is informed via the app. The mother is to have biweekly visits for 2 hours at the Riverview Center. The center reserves the right to recommend expanding this to weekly visits if there are no violations for 3 consecutive months and after a psychologist's report. A permanent protective order is in place for 1 year, automatically renewed for another year if there is a violation. No contact outside the app or with lawyers. No discussion of the case or the child on social media or through third parties. Financial. Child support according to the state formula in the child's trust. The parties retain their property. Spousal support not assigned. Both parties are to see a family counselor biweekly for the first 3 months. A follow-up hearing is scheduled via Zoom in 6 months to assess progress. The silence in the room was like a sigh. Lindsay made a quick note and turned to Andrew. Congratulations. This is as close to what we were looking for as possible. The judge looked at both sides. I rarely say this, but I will. You both kept your tone today. Maintain it. A child doesn't need victories, but resilience. That's all for today. They walked out into the hallway. Savannah stood against the wall, clutching the folder tightly. Her face showed no trace of anger, only weariness. Andrew, she said quietly, I will follow the rules. Tell him I love him. I'll pass it on, he replied, and follow the order. It's important. I know. Lindsay nudged him toward the exit to avoid wasting the moment. Not a single unnecessary phrase, she said, already in the hallway. From here, it's routine. I'll send you the final copies of the decision and the order. Take them to the school and to Riverview. Marie was waiting for them at the entrance. She brought a thermos and 2 plastic cups. Hot tea, she said. Don't be a hero. He took a sip. His hands shook not from fear, but from the released tension. How's Tyler? He asked. Fine. We did our homework. Chip went for a walk. He asked when I'd be back. I said, soon. At home, Andrew laid out copies of the solution on his desk. He attached one to a magnet as I placed one on the board by the entrance, another in a fireproof box, and a third in the school folder. I wrote to talking parents. The court has made a decision. Meetings are Wednesdays every other week, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Riverview. I'll notify the center. I'll pass your message on to our son. And sent a short message. He knows you love him. The Monday after the trial was neither a triumph nor a disaster. It was simply the beginning of the week. Andrew took Tyler to after-school care, popped into the teacher's lounge, and immediately removed the yellow sticky notes from the board that had been there since the administrative chaos. In their place, he pinned a blank sheet of paper with the Impulse Lab plan. 3 stations, 10 minutes each. Holt winked. I'll take that on board. Your scheme reduces noise. The main thing is that everyone has time to discuss the conclusion, Andrew replied. Miss Carter called from after-school care this afternoon. Tyler has a window for the Family Stories project on Wednesday, she said. We need a photo, but it doesn't have to be with both parents. It could be about something else, like family traditions. I'll bring a photo from the library and a sheet of paper with the 3 questions, Andrew replied. It's become our tradition. After school, he stopped by the hardware store. He picked up some clear wire boxes and a magnetic latch for the bottom cabinet door. Chip had learned to open and pull bags with his paw. The salesperson smiled. Is the puppy growing? And he learns faster than me, Andrew said. At home, Marie brought a thermos of soup and a package of Tawforms. We're having a fair next week, she said. We need volunteers for an hour-long slot. Would you like to man the ticket counter? I'll take the morning one. Tyler will be rehearsing for the quiz at that time. That evening, Andrew sat down with his son to work on the Family Stories project. They printed out a photo, Tyler and Chip on the porch, next to a tiny chalkboard with rules written in marker. Tyler carefully wrote under the photo, We answer 3 questions every night, then throw a ball 10 times. It helps me relax. He paused, then looked at his father. Can I add something about Chip? That he now walks with us and waits at the door. Certainly. They chose the word waits simple and precise. On Tuesday evening, an email arrived from the district HR, Management Employee Relations Policy Aid Memoir. Andrew printed a copy and placed it in the background section of his large folder. Not because he was planning to take it anywhere, but to remember how it all began and why silence is now more important than conversation. On Wednesday at Riverview, Terry greeted them with her usual nod. Savannah arrived on time, her hair tied back, no bags. Tyler calmly walked into his room. Andrew sat in the hallway next to a man in a firefighter's uniform who was leafing through a home safety brochure. He didn't immediately recognize him, no baseball cap, his beard neatly trimmed. Aiden? He asked. Hi. Yes, we have practice later today. I stopped by a friend's to pick up some paperwork and saw you. How are you holding up? On schedule. The center is helping. A schedule is the best thing, Aiden said. We have the same thing in our unit. A checklist, a radio, water. When everything is in its place, your hands stop shaking. They talked for a couple more minutes, not about the trial or the past. They talked about the ball, about Aiden's nephew learning to throw to first base. Andrew noted how easy it was for him to keep this short conversation going without dangerous topics or innuendo. After the center, they made a leisurely loop to the park. Tyler walked, tossing a soft ball, and spoke up. Today, we drew maps of the city. I put in a house, a school, and the center. Terry said it was a good plan. That's definitely a plan, Andrew replied. We can still add the library and the field. And Marie's house. Necessarily. Thursday was puppy class. Emma set them a mini-test. Enter the store, walk around 3 shelves, and return to the door. Chip was attracted to the treats, but tried to jump ahead twice. Andrew stopped, waited, and gave the command, heel. Tyler quietly repeated it. By the end of the lesson, the dog was walking more evenly. Homework, 3 quiet minutes by the door, Emma said. First, without guests then, when you're confident, with someone you know. Let's start without guests, Andrew nodded. On Friday, he took Tyler to a quiz rehearsal and then went to work at the fire station not as a guest, but as the person in charge of the school's home safety module. They'd been invited by the captain through the TA. The physics teacher was talking about smoke and carbon monoxide detectors and family evacuation plans. Andrew had brought a set of posters and a couple of simple detectors from the hardware store. Aiden met him at the gate. "This way," he said. "The break room is free. I'll attach the extension cord." The guys from the unit passed by, greeting them with short, "Hey." Andrew gave a short presentation, where to place the sensors, when to change the batteries, how to explain to children what to do if it beeps. He didn't mention his personal reasons, he simply shared what he knew. After his presentation, Aiden said, "If the TA needs to go to a fair, we'll set up a table with a fire extinguisher demonstration. No drama, just practice. That would be great." Saturday's field greeted them with sunshine. The team was warming up, the coach was practicing pitching, and Aiden was helping with catching. Tyler was mastering the pocket-up glove position, something they'd been practicing in the evenings. In the stands, Marie was handing out tickets to the fair, and Mrs. Dove was announcing a collection for new nets into the microphone. After practice, the field coordinator approached Andrew. "I have an envelope for you," he said. "An official letter from the school confirming that we've given the district attorney video of the incident and have closed the stands to the public during junior varsity games." "Thank you," Andrew replied. "I'll put it in the archive." There, by the bench, Aiden turned to Tyler. "I saw you catching at first base. Keep your right foot closer to the bag, it's safer when pitchers throw high. Want to try it?" "Yes," Tyler said, repeating the movement. It worked confidently. After the game, they stopped at a small cafe on the corner that sold just soup and grilled cheese. Andrew got a children's menu for Tyler and a cup of tomato juice for himself. The place was new, and therefore calm, they didn't know their stories. The owner, an elderly woman in an apron, brought an extra plate of carrot sticks for the puppy, even though Chip remained in the car and didn't ask for anything. "We're having Neighbor's Day on Sunday," she said. "A short table with lemonade outside. Come by if you're in the mood." "We'll take a look," Andrew replied. Sunday turned out to be just like that, no plans. In the morning, she and Tyler tested Chip's 3 quiet minutes at the door. The puppy whined for the first time at the 40-second mark. Tyler, just like in Emma's class, said evenly, "Sit and wait." The second time was better, about 20 minutes, no fuss. Andrew praised them both. Then they went to Neighborhood Day. There was a lemonade stand outside, the kids were drawing with chalk, and Marie was discussing pie lists with Mrs. Dove. Tom from the TA approached from afar and nodded. "Your slot at the fair is confirmed. I'll help you with the cash register." "Thank you." A man in a fire department t-shirt stood by the lemonade stand. It was Aiden. He held a plastic cup, nodded, and turned back to the child, who had asked to see how to hold the ball like a grown-up. Aiden calmly demonstrated, adjusted his palm, and let go without much comment. Tyler watched but didn't intervene. Andrew nodded approvingly to his son. Good distance, he noticed, noted, and moved on. That evening, a notification arrived from Talking Parents. From Savannah, "Thank you for delivering on time. I've signed up for another slot in 3 weeks, as recommended by the center." Andrew responded briefly, noted, "Confirmation of time will follow after the email from Riverview." It wasn't friendly, but it was polite, and that was enough. The night passed quieter than usual. No calls, no notifications, no sudden thoughts at 3 in the morning. Chip slept by the door of the carrier. Tyler sorted the cards by team and carefully closed the lid. They didn't recite any formulas before bed. They simply ended the day with warm milk and a short conversation about why some balls have red seams and others don't. On Monday morning, Andrew collected the school letter, the HR memo, and the family stories printout into a folder. He put the photo project in Tyler's briefcase. On the back, he wrote a short note for the teacher. "This routine helps my son concentrate and sleep." No unnecessary details. On the way to school, Tyler looked at the street and said something unexpected. I like that we have the same breakfast on Mondays. It makes things easier. Me too, Andrew replied. Then we'll keep the oatmeal on Mondays. He parked the car, turned off the engine, and rested his hand on the steering wheel. Another week lay ahead, not perfect and not carefree, but manageable. And this manageability held something they both had long lacked: the simple certainty that tomorrow would be like today and the day after like tomorrow. Andrew wasn't afraid of this. He'd learned to embrace it. Autumn came quickly to Denver. Yellow leaves lined the curbs and morning breath steamed. A new sheet of paper with a fall league schedule hung on the refrigerator. 2 games, the final on Saturday, Riverview on Wednesday. Thursday was the last lesson of puppy class. On Monday morning, Andrew got up early, swept the leaves near the porch, and checked the batteries in the sensors. Chip ran to get the rake and pulled it toward the gate. Tyler peered out the window in his pajamas. Can we practice at the garage before school today? 10 throws, yes. Just make it quick. Breakfast passed without conversation: oatmeal, an apple, and milk. As they were leaving, their phone vibrated. A notification from talking parents from Savannah. Request to reschedule the next Riverview meeting from Wednesday to Friday. I have a meeting at work. Please confirm. Andrew didn't respond immediately. He took a photo of the screen, forwarded it to Lindsay, and added, Friday's slot clashes with the game. A minute later, a reply came. I'll send the template. Let her ask for an alternative slot. You are not adjusting the child's schedule to fit her work. Keep it brief. Lindsay sent the wording. Andrew pasted it into Talking Parents. Meetings are scheduled on Wednesdays from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. If you can't make it, please contact Riverview to arrange an alternative time slot that doesn't conflict with your child's classes. I'm happy to confirm any time slot agreed upon by the center. He sent it. The delivered tag appeared within seconds. Tyler was rehearsing for his Family Stories performance at school. Miss Carter sent a photo, a poster with their evening rules, next to a drawing of Chip and a ball. Great job, she wrote. Andrew pocketed the phone. Those little marks helped him stay on track better than any advice. On Wednesday at Riverview, everything went as usual. Terry nodded to them from the doorway and noted in the log that the ball was at center, not at the sidelines. An hour later, a message arrived from the coordinator. We will not be reserving the Friday slot. A conflict with children's sports activities has been confirmed. Your next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday. Andrew sent a screenshot to Lindsay. She replied, That's how it should be. On Thursday, during the last puppy class, Emma handed Tyler a small graduate card. Chip sat by the door, motionless. Emma smiled. You two make a good team. Next, a minute of calm in the morning and evening. It works better than long workouts. Thank you, Andrew said. We'll continue. On Friday after school, the TA held a fair. Andrew ran the ticket counter, Tom helped with change, Marie sold cookies, and Mrs. Dove controlled the line. Aiden showed up later, bringing a fire extinguisher and putting up a sign next to it that said, Let's show you how to use it. Kids came over, watched, and asked questions. I'll drop by the field on Saturday, he told Andrew when the flood of people had died down. If you need help warming up, let me know. I will. Thank you for coming. I like being with the guys. They play fair. Saturday morning was chilly. Exhalations turned to steam near the net. The coach handed out uniforms, and Aiden laid out the cones. Tyler silently flexed his palms, asking for 5 more shots before the match. Andrew nodded. One last series, then water. Early in the second inning, Tyler took the bat. The coach signaled, and Aiden quietly said from the sideline, Elbow up, watch the pitch, take your time. The pitch was mid-range. Tyler brought his legs together, swung a clean hit. The ball sailed over first base, landing between the players. The stands roared. Tyler ran to second base, stopped, and looked at his father. Andrew gave him a thumbs up, didn't shout. The rest of the game was even. Their team won modestly without any fireworks. After the game, the boys went home to their families. Aiden helped them gather up the nets and carry the cones to the storage area. Tyler sat down by the bench, untying his cleats with a serious expression. "You tied your legs correctly today," Aiden said. "Watch how you held the bag. It reduces the risk of losing the base." "I've been practicing this," Tyler replied. "I see." Andrew collected his uniform and put it in a bag. Marie approached them with a thermos. "Tea with lemon," she said, "for those who stood in the wind." The three of them stood by the net, sipping hot tea. No rush, no urgent conversations. Just a day on the field after a long month. At home, they had a plan. Soup on the stove, a baseball movie for the evening, a call to Grandma. On the porch, there was an envelope from Riverview, confirmation of the next slot for Wednesday. Andrew magnetized it to the board. The phone beeped softly, talking parents. "Got confirmation from the center for Wednesday. I'll be there on time." He replied, "Noted." That afternoon, they stopped by the library to return books. The librarian suggested a new list, athlete biographies for middle schoolers. Tyler chose a slim book about a Rockies player. Andrew picked up a book about dog training, a simple reference book with tables. He'd come to love books with tables. On the way home, they stopped at the store and bought a pumpkin. The school list required one for a class project. Tyler chose a medium-sized one, not the most even. He said, "This one is better for the face. It turns out funny." "Your pumpkin, your rules," Andrew replied. That evening, he sent 3 short emails. To the school, a copy of the final decision and the Riverview schedule updated, without details. To Riverview, confirmation of the next slot. To Lindsay, the game went off without incident. Center confirmed Wednesday. In response, she received her usual "accepted" and a short wish for a relaxing weekend. Water was boiling in the kitchen. Chip lay motionless on the rug by the door. His calmness training was paying off. Tyler, in the room, was carefully arranging index cards and reviewing his homework list. Andrew glanced at the board. School, library, center, puppy class. Nothing extra. "Dad," Tyler called from the room. "Can we go to the field again on Sunday, just the 2 of us?" "Yes. In the morning, while it's quiet. We'll take a soft ball so as not to disturb the neighbors." Agreed. They had dinner, watched half a movie, and turned off the TV. Marie sent a photo from the stadium, where Tyler was smiling with his glove raised. Andrew forwarded the photo to his grandmother with a short caption, "Fall game. All is quiet." Before bed, he checked the front door and the video doorbell. There were no notifications. His phone had a clean Talking Parents feed, no late-night messages. The documents were still in place in the folder. In the basket by the door were the trimmed ends of his leash, which Tyler had asked him to keep as a souvenir of the puppy's first class. There was a pumpkin in Tyler's room. On the table was a baseball book. On the shelf was the comic book he always picked up at Riverview, now at home. Tyler sat on the edge of the bed and reached for the blanket. "Are we putting a face on the pumpkin tomorrow?" he asked. "Yes, and we'll stop by Marie's. She promised to give us markers for marking." "Fine." Andrew turned off the light and stood by the door for a few seconds, listening to the sounds of the house. Chip's quiet footsteps down the hall, the rustle of pages as Tyler put the book away. No unexpected calls, no fuss. He remembered how it all began and found himself not wanting to go back there, even in his thoughts. They had a different routine now, and it wasn't about winning over someone, but about living a normal life without unnecessary stress. "Good night, my friend," he said. "Night, Dad," Tyler replied. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think click to the next one.